All right. All right. I'd like to call the board meeting of December 15th, 2020 of the Toledo Board of Education to order. And with that, Mr. Steckschulte, would you take the roll call?
Ms. Barnes,
Present.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Here.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Here.
Mrs. Varwig,
Here.
Mr. Vasquez.
Here. Do you have a flag there, Mr. Steckschulte, for us to do the pledge?
Yep. Why didn't it come up? There it is.
There it is. You want to lead us in the pledge?
Sure. I pledge allegiance
To the flag, United States of America, and to the republic
for which
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Dr. Durant, would you like to recite the mission and vision of Toledo Public Schools?
Yes, so Toledo Public Schools' mission is to produce competitive college and career-ready graduates through a rigorous curriculum across all grade levels by implementing Ohio New Learning Standard with fidelity. Our vision statement is to strive to be an A-rated school district whose graduates are college and career ready. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm going to turn over section 2 to you of the agenda, which is the presentations, Dr. Durant.
Yes, we're going to send the presentation recognition right over to Ms. Patty Mazur. Ms. Mazur?
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. I have the pleasure of sharing and congratulating with you all 12 retirees for this evening, and 2 of them are very dear to me. First, we have, and I know some of them were trying to be part of the meeting tonight, so I keep watching the attendees list to see if they pop on. But first, we have Kathleen Charette. She is a kindergarten teacher at Chase STEM Academy. She has 34 years and 11 months of service to the district. Lisa B. Morgan, I know this is a friend of Mrs. Varwig's. She's a music teacher at Wade High School, retiring with 34 years and 10 months. Sherry A. Kest, communications assistant. Sherry and I have been together for 15 years. She's retiring as of January 1st with 34 years and 3 months of service to the district. Building operator at Harvard, 33 years, 10 months of service. Robert Duras, music teacher at Woodward, 33 years and 5 months. Cynthia Laws. She is a paraprofessional at Glendale Fieldbach. She has 32 years and 3 months of service. Fatima H. Schauscher. She is an MD teacher at Rogers, and she is retiring with 31 years and 9 months of service. Carmen L. Day, risk management coordinator, dear friend of mine, 29 years, 5 months of service. Anita Raymond, kindergarten teacher, Edgewater Elementary, 29 years, 4 months of, service. Debbie Knipp, MD teacher at Rogers with 28 years, 7 months of service. Shelley Venus, hearing vision screener at Woodward High School with 28 years, 3 months of service. And JD I. Green, she's an LPN instructor at the Adult Education Program, 26 years and 2 months of service. Together, these 12 folks have given 377 years and 2 months of service to Toledo Public Schools. We congratulate them all.
We do congratulate them, and if we were meeting in person, we would be able to properly congratulate them. There are some names in there that many of us know, and it is congratulations to them. And as always, it's TPS's loss when we lose that much experience and such qualified people. Thank you. The next section is community comments, and no one had signed up for community comments, so we'll go right into section 4, which is organizational input. Is there anybody from Parent Congress on the call?
I do not see anyone from Parent Congress. I see Mr. Ramirez and Miss Bailey.
Okay, let's go to Ms. Bailey at this time.
Good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
You know, I think on behalf of the AFSCME workers and the families that we represent, we want to say that we feel TPS is doing an amazing job at working with us through these times under the pandemic. We hope to continue that collaboration as we move forward, and we look forward to moving forward and hopefully getting through this together. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that very much. And thank you for that. Mr. Ramirez, you have comments?
Thank you. I just want to say I'm glad to have TAAP finally in negotiations at this time for this year for our June expiration date, and hopefully we can get it done quickly. But other than that, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays, and remind everybody to stay safe this holiday season. Thank you.
The only thing I missed, Mr. Ramirez, is any report on the old Newsboys. Did you, in your campaign there, do you have anything?
Appreciate it. We did it even through the pandemic, and there was a lot of doubts whether we could pull it off, but we did. I don't have the total number of what the take was, but I can tell you I'm looking at the screens now and I'm fixing for vouchers. We have given out 1,054 shoes and 989 coats so far, up to $35,000 in the last 2.5 weeks. So it's going well. Thank you.
Well, you know that we really appreciate it. Our school students really receive a big benefit from that. So appreciate all the hard work.
Thank you.
Anybody from TFT on the call? Do we see anybody?
I do not see anyone.
Okay, I don't want to miss anybody. The next section is section 5, and it's comments by the board. Are there any comments by the board?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Is that Ms. Varwig or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Vasquez. So I'm going to get my comments in now as opposed to waiting until much later. First, I'm going to start out with the state legislator and legislators, let's put it that way, and the shameful lack of getting a job done. They had every opportunity to pass a fair funding for public schools, and they've chosen not to. You know, unless something happens in the 9th hour, which I would love that to happen, but I don't foresee it to happen. It has been a lot of hard work by bipartisan approach, and yet this group that's leading the charge has decided to forego this opportunity, and it's a good bill. So it's unfortunate that we're led by some of the folks down there that have chosen not to support public education at this time. I'm going to move on to the positive now. So our retirees, I want to thank them for their years of service. And yes, Ms. Mazur, thanks for calling out Ms. Morgan. I was really hoping that she was going to get to sing tonight. We have such dynamic talent in teachers, especially in the music department. That's near and dear to my heart. So the fact that Mr. Duras is leaving us, years of just all the great memories that I have and my daughter has from Mr. Duras participating with the music department. And so I'm so thankful for both of them and all of our retirees. I would like to thank the staff and our students and our families for continuing to persevere even through the challenges that we are facing. We know it's hard. It's real hard. But thank you for just persevering, really. I'd also like to thank my colleagues for the many hours that you guys serve. A lot of folks don't realize the amount of work that it does go into being a board member and having the information that you need and research and reading and writing and all of those extra things besides just the everyday meetings. So thank you for what you do each and every day for the students in the district. And then on a personal note, I'd like to thank you for the board for coming together and helping me get gifts for the holidays for a family of 8. Plus, I was able to get a little something for mom. So thank you for always contributing. And that was through Chase Academy. I want to give a special shout out to the teacher over there that runs that program, Adopting a Family at the Holidays, Miss Luann Williams. So thank you for what you do every year. We appreciate that. And then my last comment, and again, I'm doing this now because I'm not going to do it later, is wear a mask and stay safe. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Ms. Fireway. Other board members, you want to just put your hand up? I can see it. Mrs. Eichenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Vasquez. I wanted to just quickly, I do want to thank Ms. Bailey and Mr. Ramirez for participating this evening, and really exciting news about the shoes and coats distributed to students in need. That's really powerful. We do appreciate our staff, all of them, and we know this has been hard. We're in the home stretch of first semester, and you know, many, I see with my students, many teachers and administrators reaching out to try to help as best they can to make sure that our students engage and finish this semester with success. And it will have probably been the hardest semester that anyone has had to try to do that in. To Ms. Farwick's point, if we all want to come back, we have to wear masks, because right now those numbers, they don't look good. They're not getting better. They're getting worse. We need to make good, healthy choices about not spending a lot of time outside of our homes in the next few weeks. And I know that's really hard through the holiday season, which is already hard for so many people. But I would ask you to use good judgment if you want to see our children be able to get back to school. Right now, the numbers don't look good. So can't say that enough, and they're going the wrong direction. So I also would just really quickly follow up with, you know, I sent my own letter to Senator Dolan challenging him to have the Finance Committee meet, even though, you know, they tend to stop business. I reminded him that businesses run through December 23rd. I didn't see any reason why state senators couldn't also meet through December 23rd, but I did not get a reply. So we're really hoping they pick it up in the new year at the very least. And I appreciate the support of my colleagues on, you know, advocating there. I think it's great. And I appreciate all of you. And I wish everybody a very happy holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments from other board members? Ms. Barnes, do you have comments?
I feel like you always know I want to talk or say something, right, Bob? Just pretty much echoing what my colleagues said about, you know, the hard work that's going around Ohio just to make sure we get fair funding for public education is important. And I thank you for Chris and Stephanie for the hard work and the fierce voice you've been for TPS. And just how you can see our students, our families, and our teachers and our staff really working together around this pandemic is really motivational. Even for me and my household, we're still struggling with trying to get pans on while we're in the meetings for my youngest, but just seeing him interact with his teacher and his para, and to seeing that the hard work the teachers are putting in every day to make sure our kids is getting that high quality education even through this pandemic is amazing. And so pretty much thank yous all around, and you're doing an awesome job. Happy holidays. And once again, like my colleagues said, wear your mask.
Thank you. Ms. Polly Taylor Dorkin.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I also want to echo my thanks to my colleagues for a tough year together. I was thinking before I got in this meeting, I really miss all of you. I really miss you. And it comes to mind something my mom would say when things just would get overwhelming. And it's just like, something's got to give. You know, it's just something's got to give. And I've got my money on 2021. And my eye on 2021 with all of you as we regroup in the new year. And I'm hoping that we'll, you know, have a restful and blessed holiday season together. And I look forward to the coming months for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. As always, I reserve my comments till last. I want to thank all of our staff, as always, and the leadership, our labor leaders, everybody who contributes to the public schools, our students, and our families. This has been a really, really difficult year. Seems like Toledo Public Schools goes through some difficult years. I think every year has a challenge. Some years more challenging than others, but we always get through it, and we get through it because we have such great staff, and we have great motivation, and we have our goals, and we keep our focus on what we should be doing, and we continue to do it. I'd also like to say something about the legislature not passing the Fair Funding Act, and how bad that is. And if people remember, we sent our support last meeting. We passed a resolution supporting that. It's amazing how they can hurry up on legislation that is not beneficial to public schools, but delay the legislation that is beneficial to public schools. There has to be a change. We have to work to change how the legislature is looking at public schools, and I want everybody to continue to advocate for that. And I think that the only other thing I want to say is happy holidays to everybody, and we'll get through this. Wear your mask, social distance. Let's do all the things that we need to do so we can get back in the classroom, and so the board members can get back in the boardroom, and so we can run the meetings the way we know we enjoy running them, with all of us together and all of the public being there with us and giving their input as we go along. So thank everybody. Thank all my colleagues. That will take us to the next section, which is the consent agenda. And as we all know, the consent agenda will go through 6.01 through 6.18. And any member who wants to have something pulled for further discussion, we can pull that from the consent agenda. And all you have to do is ask for it to be pulled, and we'll put it down in discussion. So I'm going to read through the consent agenda, and board members, if you need something to be pulled, please ask for it to be pulled. So item 6.01 through 6.04 is the Human Resources Staff Development and Training Committee. And the chair is Polly Taylor Gherkin, and the co-chair is Stephanie Eichenberg. Items 6.05 through 6.08 are the Finance and Business Operation Committee items. And the chair is Bob Vasquez, and the co-chair is Stephanie Eichenberg. Items 6.09 and 6.10 is Community and Public Relations Committee, and the chair is Stephanie Eichenberg, and the co-chair is Chris Varwig. Item 6.11 and 6.12 are the Board Curriculum, Instruction, and Academic Excellence. Chair is Polly Taylor Gherkin, and the co-chair is Chris Varwig. Item 6.13 and 6.14 is the Policy Committee, and the chair is Sheena Barnes, and the co-chair is Bob Vasquez. Item 6.15 is the Athletics and Student Activities Committee. The chair is Chris Varwig, and co-chair is Stephanie Eichenberg. Item 6.16, Family and Community Engagement Committee. Chair is Bob Vasquez, and co-chair is Chris Varwig. Item 6.17 and 6.18 are the approval of the board meeting minutes. I'd like to request a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved, Varwig.
Seconded, Barnes.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes.
Mrs. Barwig,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes. Thank you. Section 7 of the agenda consists of reports and minutes from month's committee meetings and are here for information and reference. There's no action needed at this time. They are provided, and they are on board docs, and it is important to note that that is where we do all of our work, is in committee. It's a great way to get things done, and some of those meetings last quite a long time because we do cover a lot of agenda items. So please look at those for your own reference. Section 8 is discussion. We have 2 items under the discussion. The first one is the renewal of institutional membership resolution fiscal year 2021. Can I have a motion to approve?
So,
Sorry. Go ahead.
so moved, Eichenberg.
Second?
Second, Barnes.
Thank you. Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion about item 8.01? Okay. Can you go ahead and take the roll?
Yes. Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes.
Mrs. Barwig,
Abstain.
Mr. Vasquez.
Abstain. Thank you. The next item under discussion is 8.02, and it is the proposed policy for student voice. It's a new policy. It was provided to all the board members, and it is required that when we have a brand new policy that there be 2 readings. The first reading took place in the policy committee chaired by Ms. Barnes and myself as a member. So it is there for your reference. I'm not going to read the whole policy, but it is considered the second reading. Can I have a motion to approve that policy?
Motion to approve, Barnes.
Second? Is there a second?
Barwig.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion?
Mr. Vasquez?
Yes.
I see Ms. Eichenberg also. So I just have a couple of questions about like where this will reside in policy. I know that they don't get numbered until after they're adopted when they're brand new policy. And then just a question in general, do we have other policies like this? So for example, do we have a policy about student council or a policy about any other particular clubs? I'm trying to wrap my brain around where this fits and how it rises to the level of a policy rather than a resolution of intent or support, and just where you came from with that discussion. And if Mr. Murphy could probably pipe in since he.
I can respond to some of that, and then if Ms. Barnes wants to, do you want to do that, Ms. Barnes, first? Do you want me to go ahead and?
You can go ahead and kind of discuss how our mindset was around this.
All right.
And I'll chime in after.
And I think that's a very fair question. Our intent is that, and as you recall, when this all was first initiated with student voice, it was a way to make sure that our students had input into everything TPS. And it was started a number of years ago. I think that the board members here were the ones who initiated actually the movement to do that. And we have been kind of a model I think, around the country for how we do this. The thinking was that board members change, leadership changes, and we didn't want to lose the momentum we have with student voice. So we were looking for a way to memorialize it, if you will. And so we want to make sure that it stays the priority that we, and Ms. Barnes can chime in on this, but I think that we were thinking that it would remain the priority no matter who the board members are, no matter who the superintendent is, over years. And that's why we saw this as maybe different than some of the other organizations that you brought up. Where it's going to go in the policy book, I'm not really sure. Maybe Mr. Murphy can chime in on that. Ms. Barnes, you want to follow up on that?
Pretty much what Mr. Vasquez said. We want to make sure this is a continuous thing, as whereas government and the other programs that are awesome that we have for our students are usually led by teachers and their initiatives. And even with this, Ms. Lawless teaching and her staff or her team is teaching this, is something that is more ingrained, excuse me, into TPS policies, I believe is how I look at it. So where they're actually suggesting how can we educate better? How can we engage better? So I think they have more of a voice of overall TPS functioning for our students by our students is how I looked at it.
Stephanie, did you have something before I piggyback on that?
I was just going to comment. Actually, I appreciate Mr. Vasquez's talking about the distinction of, you know, as a model that other people might follow. They might be looking for a policy to support the work that they're doing. I think that's an important factor. I don't disagree with the items laid out in the policy at all. I think that was a part of our original vision. If I recall, Ms. Gerken, Ms. Farwig, and I actually were at a meeting in Cleveland, and we got all jazzed up about this idea. And so, of course, this is a board-driven initiative, which is, as Ms. Barnes noted, a little different from some of the school-based clubs that administration works on with us. So, for that, I can see it rising to a different level than what we might do with some of the other activities. It doesn't, it's homed in one of our committees, but it doesn't have its own committee like activities and extracurriculars. So I can see this making sense. So I just wanted to recognize that, yeah, I do think the material in the resolution is reflective of the vision we had, where we had a diverse set of students who came together, and it's not just your straight A students who come and tell you how the school should be run, because those kids are doing great. We're happy to hear from them about how we can do even better, but we also want to hear from the kids who just aren't interested, because we have to figure out a way to get them interested. So, and who might be struggling for one reason or another. So.
Yeah, I like the reasoning that this kind of makes it clear that we expect it to continue and to be a thing, right? And even more so someday. We've had the vision of, how do we even raise it to the level of a student, seat on the board, a student representative, I guess, on the board. So I think that's great. I appreciate it. And I don't want to wordsmith, but there's one word. There's one word that I think can be strong, made more strong. And I think it's the paragraph just above eligibility, where it says district leadership is committed to establishing. I would like that word to say, maintaining and supporting, or something that makes it clear that it's not enough just to establish it, right? We've already established it. And what you're saying by this policy is we expect it to be, as permanent as it can be until someone goes to the trouble of changing a policy, which I think is a little more difficult than just ignoring, a club. So I don't know if that comes as a form of a,
yeah, I'm not sure what we do now is, do we have to amend it?
yeah, I mean, we could amend it by one word, or we could, bring it back another month. But I think it's just as easy for me to make a motion to amend the word establishing to maintaining, and then go from there. I could,
So maybe just to clarify everything, I'll ask for a motion. If nobody objects to changing the wording, I'll ask for a motion on the policy with the new wording that Ms. Gherkin is putting in there. Everything else remaining the same.
yes, I'd just like to change the word establishing to maintaining.
Okay. Mr. Steck-Schulte, do you have that as the reporter?
Excuse me, Ms. Gherkin, do you want maintaining and supporting or just maintaining?
I think
Make sure my
maintaining.
notes are good.
I think it's fine if we just say maintaining. It's making it clear that this isn't just a thing to start and forget about.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for indulging me.
So, what I need is a motion on the policy with the change of wording that we just, that Ms. Gherkin wants to put in there. Can I have a motion on? Well,
Yes.
wait a minute. Do we have to? We had a motion and a
Right.
we had a motion and a second.
So I'm making a motion on the amendment. So we need a second and then we vote on the amendment and then vote on the new policy with the amendment in it.
Right. Okay. So let's vote on the amendment. So did you make a motion
I
on?
made a motion to amend the word establishing to
Is there a
maintain.
second?
I would like to second that.
Okay, so motion and a second has been made. Any discussion on the amendment? Mr. Steck-Schulte, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes,
Mrs. Varwig,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes. Now I'll call for a motion.
just a
already
vote.
And
We have the
second.
motion already, so we just need to vote on the
Well, we
motion.
we had a motion on the old policy. Now we have to have a motion on a new policy, right?
But the amendment passed, so they automatically go together.
Yep.
in the end.
Okay.
Yeah, we've amended. We've now amended so we can move forward.
Mr. Steck-Schulte, so is there any discussion?
No.
Okay.
So do we do roll call now?
Yes.
Gotcha. Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes,
Mrs. Varwig,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes. Okay, and before we move on from that, I just want to thank everybody for that and appreciate that. There was a lot of discussion in policy. This is a revised, before it even came, it was revised from when we were in policy committee because we did discuss it at length, and it was focusing on some of the things that Ms. Gherkin talked about, and that is inclusion, and that was making it a diverse group and making sure that it wasn't a student government organization, making sure that it wasn't the eligibility wasn't grades and having good grades. We had just a lot of discussion about that. And so it was sent back for revision. And then this is the revised copy. So thank you. Appreciate
Mr.
it.
Vasquez,
Yes.
before we move on, please, Ms. Gherkin asked about where the policy would reside. Could we have Mr. Murphy on to talk about that?
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, so typically I can't tell you exactly where the policy is going to fall, but I can talk to you about the process. Typically what we do with a new policy after it's passed by the board, we will go in and take a look at where we think the placement should be. We'll then connect with Ms. Natashak for advisement, and then we'll reach out to OSBA and get their recommendation, and then we'll finally make a decision on the placement. So if any board member or the policy committee are interested in where that is before we do that, we certainly can reach out and provide you that information.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
You're welcome.
thank you.
We have one more item, which is 8.03 in discussion, and that is to try to come up with a date for a special board meeting if needed. We're not absolutely sure, but we want to have another special board meeting date on the calendar if we need it. And we had passed around some eligibility for, I think it was the 29th. Mr. Steckschulte, can you, is that correct?
Correct, yes. 29th was floated out there, so and that seemed to work for everyone.
Okay, and we had talked about possible time of being around lunchtime or again in the evening. Can we have people look at their calendars and see if we can?
Yeah, for me to do it on the 29th, it would have to be midday and not in the evening. So as long as you're sticking to that kind of noon hour, I'll be okay on the 29th.
I'm open for the 29th, so.
Ms. Varwig, how are you set for the 29th?
I'm good. Thank you.
Mrs. Eichenberg?
Can I ask, is 1 p.m. early enough, Ms. Gerken? And could people accommodate 1 p.m.? I generally chair a meeting for my other work at noon. So
Okay, I can do one.
okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Now, the only requirement I have is that it not last much more than an hour because it would be lunchtime. And I have flexibility with my lunchtime, but I would have to, I'd like to try to do it over lunch. So, I mean, I have flexibility. We don't stick to exactly 60 minutes, but I'd like to have that as a goal of an hour. Would that be all right with everybody? Okay. All right. So why don't you, Mr. Steckschulte, send that out in an email or something to remind us all to put it on our calendars, do an invite. And then if we don't have to have the meeting, we will just not have the meeting. Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Section 9 are, by the way, I appreciate everybody's cooperation on that. It's during the holidays and everybody's being very flexible. I really appreciate that a lot. Section 9 is walk-ins. Do you, I don't see any walk-ins, Mr. Steckschulte? No?
No, there are no walk-ins this evening.
Okay. And then section 10 is the early childhood education items, 10.01. And I will turn that over to Polly Taylor Gerken for that.
We just have one item, and that's a small change to the Headstart Policy Council bylaws. Those are written and adopted by the Headstart Policy Council themselves, the parent-driven group for Headstart. And then we get the final say on that. Ms. Barnes, do you have anything else on that?
And I think this is something that is an awesome thing. Once again, something that TPS is doing is getting the parents' input for our programming and how it's working for them and their children. And the groups I sit on, the meetings I sit in with them is amazing. So if we can adjust the bylaws to make this more successful, I really hope that you say yes.
Yes. And then beyond that, just to let you know, the section 11 is just the reports, just that we need to make sure the whole board gets them by Headstart rules. Everybody has to have them. So they're there for your use. And unless Dr. Allen has anything else, I would make a motion to pass 10.01.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Steckschulte, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Gerken,
Yes.
Mrs. Barwig,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes. Thank you. As Polly Taylor Gerken, Ms. Gerken, as you said, you already covered section 11 as being reports. So we'll go right on to section 12. Are there any early childhood education walk-ins this evening? None. All right. I can see by shaking of the heads that there are none. So we will go to section 13, which is executive session. And I'd like to request a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employer or official. Also to conference with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action, and for preparing for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment.
So moved, Barwick.
Seconded, Eichenberg.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Steck-Schulte, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes.
Mrs. Varwig,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes. Okay, for everybody to know, we will go into executive session. We will come out of executive session into regular session after we are through. So all the board members go to the link for your executive session, please. Thank you. I can't see everybody, Mr. Stick-Schulte. Are we still waiting for Chris?
Hang on. Ollie.
There's Dr. Durant.
Yep, we're waiting on Mrs. Barwick. There's Amy. I just sent her a text to see if she was having issues.
I think we lost Chris.
Yeah, and she was the one who was earlier on telling me how to work my technology to make sure that we could do all of this. She was telling me how simple it was.
Yeah.
No shade at all, huh, Bob?
What's that?
No shade at all. It's something the young kids say.
I'm telling you, technology, sometimes it's tough to navigate.
Oh my gosh, this Zoom thing is killing me.
I know.
Dr. Durant, no, I can't work an iPhone still, so I can't say anything.
We're converting like day-long trainings into virtual trainings. How painful.
Oh, geez, that's gotta be. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, I just did a 2-day conference. And have 2 more coming up for 2 days from like literally 8 to 5.
Is anybody doing the equity conference? Usually we go to that one in DC. Well, I've gone a couple times in DC. Chris, are you doing the equity conference in DC this year?
I am. I apologize for that. I kept trying to click on the link in the calendar and it had me as an attendee, but you guys couldn't see me or hear me.
That's why I don't use the calendar. I use the email.
Email. That's when they promote us. They promote us to panelists. So, all right, what you got?
All right. What we need is a motion to come out of executive session and reconvene in regular session. Can I have a motion?
So moved, Barwick.
Okay. Did you get that, Mr. Stick-Schulte?
Yes, motion made by Mrs. Varwig, seconded by Mrs. Eichenberg.
Okay, good. Any discussion? Hearing none, Treasurer, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes.
Mrs.
Yes.
Varwig,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes. Then that takes us to section 14 through 16. Comments from the superintendent.
No, I just want to wish everybody a happy holidays coming up. It's always something to see coming in January, to see people rejuvenated, re-energized, and going through the season and coming back to work. So wish each and every one of you a safe and healthy holiday season. And again, thank you for being.
Thank you, Dr. Durant. Mr. Stick-Schulte, any comments?
Yeah, went over most of them already, and you already hit on the Cut Patterson and how that's been delayed. But the bills that Representative Marin has placed out there regarding ballot language and tax values and so forth have, what we're hearing have been slowed or stopped and they will probably rear up again here after the first of the year, maybe in the biennium budget, but we're hearing that. And so other than that, we'll keep an eye out because bills are coming in fast and furious at the state level in this lame duck session. Overnight, one came in that the treasurer, business managers will no longer need a license. Closing that, so we're not quite sure what's going on with that. We don't know who put it out there. So they're working on that. And we got actions today from the state organizations to contact our legislators, see what's going on. So we're trying to figure that one out quick. So that makes no sense to us. So other than that, just happy holidays and hopefully everybody can relax and enjoy them.
Thank you very much. Comments from the board?
Okay, I promised I wasn't going to, but I'm sorry, Mr. Vasquez, I have to. After that, it blows my mind that people down in Columbus, their thought process. And so I'm floored by that. Who wouldn't? Mr. Sick Schulte. Again, right? Yeah, I'm amazed. I would love it if at some point in my lifetime that we could actually have legislators down in Columbus that cared about public education, true public education advocates. So, you know what? I guess we need to start promoting that across the state of Ohio. Our school board members to rise up and start running for those positions. So we actually get people that care about public ed.
Yeah, go for it, right?
I'm telling you. But on a positive note, I just want to remind everybody, OSBA had their Capitol Conference, and you guys can still, up until the 31st of December, entertain any of those sessions that they had. You can go online and view any of those at any time. And so we paid for a district. So really anyone in the district that we could give access to could go on there and review those sessions.
Cool.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Other comments from anybody? Polly?
I'm just going to say happy holidays, and I want to thank Mrs. Natashak for having her Zoom room shine her Christmas tree for us. So that has been very pleasant to have a Christmas tree on our meeting today. So thank you.
I was thinking the same thing, and I didn't make a comment about it, but Mrs. Natashak, that is such a great scene to look at you in the Christmas tree in the background. I don't think anybody could have framed that any better for a holiday season. So
looking like Hallmark.
Yeah, you're right. That was the word, Hallmark. This is a Hallmark moment. Very
well,
nice.
Thank you. The beleaguered lawyer in front of her tree.
The only other comments that I have is that, as Ms. Varwig pointed out, I'm just so disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
And with our legislators, I wake up every day wanting to hope for something different. And every time you hope, you suffer another blow, that people would believe that our students and our teachers and everybody connected with public education are as important as we believe they are. And sometimes I just it's good that we're out there fighting, but it's just so disappointing. It just takes the wind out of your sails that it would just make common sense that people would believe the way we believe. So I just want you to know it's sometimes I'm pretty disappointed because I want to think better things, not just of the legislature, but as people. I want to think of people as being better and caring for all the students like we do. And I think that my other comments are just to have a happy holidays, and they're not going to be the same for most of us as usual, and to make the best of it that we can. So, any other comments from board members?
I just want to say, pretty much happy holidays. And for those who don't celebrate, happy whatever day Christmas falls on, which I think is a Wednesday, but I don't know what day it is today, so it doesn't matter. And also just thank you all for helping me. Like, I'm gonna keep saying it until January 7th, but thank you all for just, helping me and supporting me and helping me learn to be the best board member I can be, so I can definitely support and champion our teachers and our students and our family in TPS. That's it.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. So right now then, that would be a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Varwig, and I need a verbal from Ms. Barnes.
Second part.
She raised her hands, but I think this is being recorded, so need verbal. We have any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Steckschulte, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes.
Mrs. Varwig,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez.
Yes. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Good
Happy
evening.
holidays.